My name is Chris Lugo. I serve as Executive Director of the Out Georgia Business Alliance. I'm almost 2 years into my time with the Out Georgia family, and I couldn't be more proud of what we've accomplished together, and especially when 2020 was what none of us were expecting. Now we've got a lot of lessons learned, so much respect for all the frontline workers and healthcare professionals who have gotten us to 2021, and there's so much hope ahead as vaccines start to be distributed, but still a lot of questions, a lot of concerns. What I'm most excited about, however, is that with the Out Georgia Business Alliance family, we are continuing to grow stronger and develop a tighter bond between our LGBTQ+ and allied business community right here in the state of Georgia. So again, I serve as Executive Director of the Out Georgia Business Alliance. I also wanted to introduce Nicole Palmietto, who is our membership coordinator. Nicole serves as that front line with the Out Georgia Business Alliance. If you have any questions about your membership, how to maximize value, how to navigate your business directory profile, or anything in between, Nicole Palmietto is going to be your first step along the way. Nicole, if we get to the housekeeping slide, I wanted to go over just a few items with everyone right before we get started here. While Nicole is pulling up that slide, everyone here in Zoom, I want you to go ahead and take a look at your name. We're encouraging everyone to go ahead and add your pronouns to your name. So if you hover over your name, either on your video icon, you'll see an option to rename, or if you're in the participants pane on the right-hand side of your screen, there's a More button. If you click that, you can rename yourself. I'm encouraging you to add your pronouns. My pronouns are he, him, and his. And we want to make sure that every single person who's part of the LGBTQ+ community right here in the state of Georgia and with the Out Georgia Business Alliance feels as welcome and included as possible. Pronouns go a whole long way in making sure folks are welcome. So go ahead and add those pronouns and your full name so we know who you are. We're going to have some great conversations. So again, if you haven't already and you're joining us here in Zoom, go ahead and add your LinkedIn profile here, where you're zooming in from, what organization you represent. And if you're joining us on Facebook Live, go ahead and do the same thing. Put your LinkedIn profile, the organization you represent, and where you're zooming, or where you're joining us live from there over on Facebook. As we start to expand across the state, we know we're only going to do that with a lot of really passionate folks involved. So we're hoping you are interested in learning more about the Out Georgia Business Alliance this evening. Of course, on the next slide, Nicole, I want to make sure everyone knows exactly what's what. We're on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. You can find us across all of those platforms. Of course, right now we're streaming live over on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram at out.georgia, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Out Georgia is the handle for all of those. But please make sure as you're sharing information, go ahead and tag us. And this is especially helpful as you're sharing information about your business on LinkedIn, Instagram, or what have you. If you want the Out Georgia Business Alliance to share that information, go ahead and tag us. That's one of the quickest ways to get our attention. On the next slide, I want to share what we're going to cover today. So we've got a packed agenda and we're going to start moving here. I'm so excited. Kia Comedy Barnes is going to be with us for our live portions of her take on what's going on in 2020 as we're heading into 21. And then Kia is going to help me welcome our panelists. Again, Georgia Senator Kim Jackson, Marianne Adams of Zami Nobla, our nonprofit of the year for 2020, and Justin Cullifer with Glass House Guide, our 2020 new member of the year. Once we move beyond that panel, which is going to be an awesome discussion, we're going to welcome our president, Michael Daniels, and share a bit more information about our board of directors, as well as our corporate partners. Without those folks, we would not be able to do what we do today. We're going to share even more about what to expect in 21, how to get involved. We've got a special new code for brand new members to the Out Georgia Business Alliance for a pretty big discount. I think you're going to want to stick around for that portion if you're not yet a member of the Out Georgia Business Alliance. And then Kia's going to help us move into our first round of networking about an hour in. So going right into it, I want to make sure that we're starting every meeting with the Out Georgia Business Alliance with a quick review of our mission and vision. Our vision is clear. Every Georgian has equitable access to the resources, opportunity, and support to start, grow, or scale their business, and to safely and fully participate in the workplace and communities across our state. We know if we're going to accomplish a vision that big, we're going to have to collaborate with a whole lot of folks to do exactly that. Our mission, how we bring that vision to life, is to advocate for the most inclusive and equitable business environment, provide support and resources to fuel economic growth, and to drive meaningful community connections and impact across the state of Georgia. I'm really proud of how we're developing that mission, and we've got even more incredible information that's going to color this mission and vision even more. On the next slide, you'll see our 3 primary pillars as an organization center around advocacy, business, and community. We advocate for pro-business and pro-LGBTQ plus policies benefiting all Georgians. From a business perspective, we work to drive economic growth and advancement of our members through equitable access to business education, resources, and opportunities. From the community perspective, we look to activate Georgia's growing LGBTQ plus and allied community to drive meaningful, measurable impact across our state. Now, as you've learned about our mission, vision, and our pillars, I want to introduce Kia Comedy. Kia Barnes is an advocate for equality and diversity within the LGBTQ plus community, and her repertoire includes event production, education, entertainment, social media influencing. A former teacher and Fulbright researcher, Kia was appointed to Atlanta Public Schools LGBTQ Task Force, where she chairs its curriculum and policy board. Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms also selected Kia to sit on the city's first ever LGBTQ advisory board. Having left the classroom in 2014 to pursue a career in stand-up comedy, Kia has performed on stages across the country and has been featured on Netflix, BET, LOL Network, NBC, and more. She's collaborated to cultivate queer, safe spaces with numerous LGBTQ organizations and events, including the Human Rights Campaign, Georgia Equality, Atlanta Pride, Pride Lines Miami, Selexicon Las Vegas, Women of Color Weekend, Sister Space, and the list continues to grow, including Out Georgia Business Alliance. Kia also produces 2 nationally touring LGBTQ engagements, the Les Laugh Comedy Show and Andro Fashion Show. And she was instrumental in producing Atlanta's first Equality March in commemoration of the Pulse Orlando tragedy. Simply put, Kia Comedy Barnes is just not jokes, and I'm so honored to have Kia here with us this evening. Hey, Kia, how you doing? Oh, I think we've got to unmute you here. All right. Hey, Kia.
All right, can you hear me now?
We can. How are you this evening?
I was starting to feel like a Zoom meme. So excited to be here. Thank you for that awesome introduction. It makes me feel like I'm doing something right in Atlanta. And thank you to everybody for tapping in and for all the work that you all do and for all the opportunities that you all continue to create for Atlanta and the surrounding area. I was scrolling through looking at everyone's little brief bio. I see that we have Disney here. I don't know if it's that Disney, but if it is, I want you to remember this face. But just, I see so many creators. I think it was a Handy Entertainment. That one caught my eye as well. Like, you guys are really doing it. So I'm so excited to get the opportunity to present with you all and bring up this panel, especially in Atlanta, because Atlanta to me is like the Black gay mecca of the South. And it's so beautiful to me because I'm from Alabama. I didn't see anybody checking in from Alabama. If you're from Alabama, just drop a quick little 1 so I won't feel like I'm by myself and escaping to freedom land. But just really excited to be here because it was a culture shock for me. When I first moved here, I remember riding up and down one of these 50 different Peachtree streets with my brother, and he just kept looking around and around, and he looked so confused. And I finally said, like, hey, what's going on? What's wrong with you? And he said, Kia, you know, I don't have any problem with the gays, but Atlanta is just too gay. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, it seems like y'all have gay pride rainbow flags posted up on every other corner. And he pointed to the flag. And I said, dude, that is MARTA. And I know I'm not by myself here. I know somebody else was confused by that rainbow flag, but they are everywhere. And that's why I love Atlanta so much. I really just feel like I get to be free here. Like, I came to Atlanta and I joined a gay mega church It's a real life thing. I know you all have seen them. We have visions, we have victory. And it was, again, just a culture shock to me. Like, I was so surprised by the life in the building. Like, the pastor, he was all jazzed up. He had sequins on his robe, read from the book of Elton John. The choir had choreography, just up there voguing it out. I love Atlanta. Atlanta is life to me. And I just feel like I get to be so free here. I get to be a creative here. I get to be androgynous here, because there will always be a part of me that wants to be treated like a lady. And that part normally comes out right around the end of dinner time, right along with the chick. Yes, I will be sitting right across from you at the table like, you got this, daddy. I love it. Only in Atlanta. So again, just so excited to be working with the Out Georgia Business Alliance and all of the things that you all are able to do, and as well as sitting on the advisory board and working with the Atlanta Public Schools LGBTQ Task Force. That's been so amazing to me, because I was an educator for years and years and years. And I first started teaching in Alabama, and then I moved to Georgia and still lived under that same fear that if I was outed, I could be fired. Like, what will this be for my career? And it actually did end up being the end of my career as an educator. I was discriminated against. So, like, what a pleasure and an honor to now be able to sit on this board with Atlanta Public Schools and literally be in a position to rewrite the policies that I used to literally cry about. Atlanta is opportunity and growth. And you all play such a huge part in that, because I know 2020 has been very tumultuous. It was for many of us. And the growth that we've seen in Georgia, flipping and turning the state blue. Can we just drop a 1 in the chat if you voted? Just one, just drop a 1 in the chat if you voted. We're in here, in here, in here. We all, hey, I see it. I see it. Looks like we all played our part. We got a couple ones. What more progress could we ask for? And I think that's what we're gonna, I'm really excited to get to discuss with our awesome panel that we have today, especially you, Kim Jackson. I got some questions for you. Yeah, am I running long? Am I running long, Chris?
No, I'm just like so excited as you're mentioning Kim Jackson and getting to the next panel, and everything that you're bringing to the table, Kia, is so inspiring. I know this is the first time that we're officially working together, and I'm excited. We've already started to talk about our community awards event out in the fall, and tapping into Kia Comedy, bringing it to the table. I'm just so honored, and I know I definitely want to get to. Let's start inviting this panel on, because I want you to start asking them questions, because we've got these amazing folks that represent the political space, our nonprofit space, and our new business space. Is it okay if I start introducing those folks?
Absolutely. I'm ready for it. Let's do it. Thank you for the time, though. And thank you, everybody, for listening and tapping in. I love telling my stories.
Absolutely, Kia. It is just an honor to have you. So I want to welcome in, Kia's going to help us moderate this next panel here. We've got Mary Ann Adams, who is the founder and executive director of ZAMI NOBLA, the National Organization of Black Lesbians on Aging, dedicated to building a national base of power for Black lesbians 40 plus, centering service, advocacy, and community action research. Mary Ann has a master's degree in social work with a concentration in community partnerships and over 25 years of experience in public health, social work and education, community engagement, capacity building, group facilitation, outreach, recruitment, planning, you name it, she's done it. Her interests are in investigating the social determinants of racial and sexual minority health inequities, and she's a commissioner with the East Point Housing Authority and currently serves as commission chair. We want to welcome Mary Ann Adams to the house. Hey, Mary Ann, how are you? And we're gonna ask to unmute Marianne, and then I'm gonna go ahead and introduce Kim Jackson. So we're so honored to have Kim Jackson in the house. Georgia State Senator Kim Jackson serves Georgia State Senate District 41, representing portions of DeKalb and Gwinnett counties. Kim works every day to build a safer, fairer, and more prosperous Georgia, and brings the diverse voices of her district to the Capitol: immigrants, refugees, and people living on the margins. An Episcopal priest from the rural South, Kim made Georgia home over a decade ago. After graduating from Furman University, Kim volunteered as an EMT and led her colleagues at Emory's Candler School of Theology to advocate for criminal justice reform in Georgia. Upon receiving her Master's of Divinity, Kim commenced her vocation as an Episcopal priest. Over the past 10 years in ministry, she has served as a college chaplain, a nationally renowned consultant and preacher, and a parish priest. As a vicar of the Church of the Common Ground, Kim co-creates churches with people who are experiencing homelessness in downtown Atlanta. We're so honored to have Kim Jackson in the house. We're gonna ask you to unmute as well. And hey, Kim, how are you?
Hey, it's good to be here.
Great to have you. And I want to introduce our next guest, Justin Cullifer. Justin is a serial inventor and entrepreneur with a proven track record with digital product design and development. He's the founder of Glass House Guide, an Alexa real estate tour platform, and founder of APG Emerging Tech, a consulting firm helping others build new and original technologies. And I want to mention that Justin Cullifer's Glass House Guide was our 2020 New Business of the Year. Kim Jackson received our 2020 Community Leader of the Year, and Marianne Adams representing Zami Nobla, which was our 2020 Nonprofit of the Year. Hey, everyone, we are so glad to have you.
It's great to be here.
Thank you. Good to see everyone.
Absolutely. Kia, I know you've got them questions, so I'm going to kick it to you first. Oop, and I'm going to unmute you. We've got the Zoom mute monster. Yeah.
I mean, with the current times, I just feel like I need to ask Mr. Justin Cullifer, our tech guy, are you creating an app to replace Robinhood, and can I get in on it? That is my real question. Justin, are you saving us? I want to help.
You and I are going to talk right after this and get started on that. I tell you what, I wish I did have that going on right now. I wish that was in flight, and I wish I had invested in Zoom.
Absolutely.
Touche. Actually, I would rather you start off on the questions because I'm going to be silly for a second. So you take the reins, Chris.
Absolutely. So, as we are meeting here, we're at the end of our first month of January. So much has happened over the past few months, in the past year, of course. And we've got a photo here a little bit later in the presentation. A year ago, we were at Coca-Cola's headquarters for our 2020 kickoff with about 200 plus folks in the room. We were so optimistic about the year ahead. I think everyone was, of course, about a year ago at this time. Kim, I'm going to kick it over to you first. As representing Georgia and our first LGBTQ plus Georgia State Senator, what are you seeing as like the important aspects and lessons learned from 2020 as you're moving into 2021 as our newest Georgia State Senator?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you all so much for having me. It's so good. Kia, always great to see you, and you rock a great hat, man. But, so the fact that we are still able to be together here and yet safe is, I think, an incredible learning that we've come to. While I was campaigning, a significant portion of my campaigning was simply teaching people how to use Zoom and how to connect. So I talked to grandparents who were like, now I can talk and see my kids on Zoom, right? And now our conversations, I feel like, have broadened so much more, because when we are on Zoom, we're not having to have people fly here. I mean, I was on a Zoom the other day, and there were people who lived in Amsterdam on it, Australia on it, right? People from all over the world literally were able to have a conversation with us. And I think that we're better when we're able to expand our diversity, right? And that's geographical diversity too. So I think that's a huge lesson that we learned from 2020 that I hope we carry on into 2021. And then can I just add the last thing? Y'all, can I be partisan here? I don't know, but I'm gonna go ahead and be partisan. Y'all, we did that thing in November and then again in January. Y'all, we did that thing. So what we learned in 2020 is that Georgia can be blue. And I think that's the greatest lesson that we could have taught anybody in 2020.
Absolutely, Kim. It was so inspiring to see all the work from Georgia Equality, Fair Fight, and all the grassroots organizers that showed up in force to empower Georgians, especially those who don't always have folks in their corner, to get out the vote and to really engage in civics and to learn about government and how they can activate their voice. I was so proud of that. Mary Ann, as a nonprofit executive leader of an incredible organization, Zami Nobla, what are you taking from 2020 into 21, especially from that nonprofit perspective? Because I can imagine that there are fundraising that's been hit hard by the pandemic, and folks are really hesitant perhaps about where they're spending their money, and they're wanting to learn more about the organizations and what they're doing to serve the community. As executive director, how are you moving Zami Nobla into 2021?
Thank you, Chris, for inviting me, and thank you to Out Georgia. With that question, I'm reminded of a quote from one of my favorite poets, Gwendolyn Brooks. And she said that we are each other's business. We are each other's harvest. We are each other's magnitude and bond. In short, we are responsible for nurturing each other. And that's what I'm taking into 2021. As I look at this screen, there are a lot of people that we have leaned on, who've leaned on us. And so in short, we are interdependent. And the only way that we've been able to make it out of 2020 is depending and relying on each other, leveraging resources, just sharing, words of encouragement. Right now, we've been working with ARP. We're working with Out on Film now. We're putting on a Black Lesbian Film Festival. They've been doing this for 30 years. This is our first one. We know nothing. They know everything. So to be able to call up Jim Farmer and say, hey, we need some help. And for him to say, we got you, Mary Ann. I mean, that's just amazing. And it happens in a place like Atlanta. For me to be able to call Kim Jackson and say, we got some elders here and they haven't gotten their absentee ballot. What do we need to do about this? You know what I mean? And for us to be able to, reach out to Atlanta Pride and to be able to leverage the resources that they have to continue to do our work is absolutely paramount. I think, nonprofits certainly fill the gap. And there are people who work in corporate America who want to be able to give to nonprofits. They give their money. There are people who don't have money and they give their time. And some people give it all. And we need all of it. And so that's what I'm taking into 2020, to not be rigid, to be flexible, to be open to change, to be open to going wherever the need is and just meeting people where they are.
Oh, wow. So many beautiful nuggets of wisdom and information there, and being flexible, nurturing and collaborating with each other. My goodness, I absolutely agree. We learned so much about that and what we're capable of when we do take the time to listen to each other and take the time to ask how we can help, perhaps. So thank you so much, Mary Ann. Justin, I had a question for you before I turn it back over to Kia. From the tech perspective, as well as, being outside of Metro Atlanta. I know you've got roots out in Columbus and have a great network outside of Metro Atlanta. What are you taking from maybe that entrepreneurial spirit, but also seeing what's happening outside of Metro and folks being activated as we're heading into 2021? What's on your brain right now?
Well, I'll tell you, I saw 2020 as a masterclass in adapting to change for business owners like myself. And really, I see a lot of head nods. I think we all went through that, where we began 2020 with the pandemic thinking we'll ride this out like it's a hurricane coming on shore. As long as we hunker down for a couple of weeks, it'll subside, right? And it didn't. So what we saw was the businesses that adapted to the change survived it, and in many ways created new ways to connect with their customers. to connect with each other in their business communities and other communities. Zoom was a great example of that. I know many of us are suffering from Zoom fatigue, but for those of us who aren't in Metro Atlanta, it's been an incredible tool to level the playing field. When I lived in Atlanta, which wasn't that long ago, I would spend hours in the car going from downtown to Alpharetta and everything in between trying to make it to meetings. Now with Zoom, I've more than doubled the number of meetings that I'm having in any given day. And I just take 5 minutes in between meetings to grab a glass of water. So it's really actually in some ways helped my business. I would prefer that the pandemic didn't happen. But when we look at how business has evolved and how we can adapt to change and leverage the tools that are in our capability to use, it can actually, serve as an advantage to make more connections, more meaningful connections. I love what Kim said earlier about the diversity in conversations, not just on topics, but geographies. It's just so easy to make those connections now. And I tell you, I think that the other lesson from 2020 is for us to not let our guard down. Towards the holiday season, around Thanksgiving to Christmas, I think we all had election fatigue. We had pandemic fatigue. People started traveling. People started letting their guard down. And that's when the COVID cases spiked. And that began affecting everyone's business and everyone's families and friends. And so I think the thing that we all need to take from 2020 is to adapt to change and keep our guard up, especially for 2021. There's a lot of uncertainty ahead of us. And I think we need to be thinking about continuity of business and how to protect ourselves and keep our businesses functioning.
Okay. And that, I love everything that you said, especially about continuity. And I know you mentioned adapting and surviving to these constant changes that seem to come along with the pandemic and the elections. But I really want to take it like a step further and get to thriving, because I genuinely would love to understand, like, what is your approach to seeing what happened with Robinhood, seeing what happened with Reddit, and how the people were able to come together. How do we, as a community, like, harness the power of the people? Because we're capable of changing and addressing anything. Even if you look at the way the riot started, or Q, all of those things, that was social media. So, like, what's your approach? How do you feel like we could do it better? What are some good examples that you could give us maybe? And how could we help? How can we help make sure that we're using this ability to connect with people from all over the world, maybe who don't look like us or don't love like us? Like, what can we do to make things better?
Key, is that one for me or?
That one's for you, and that was for the whole panel.
Awesome. So my 2 cents on that is really to go into 2021 with a full stock of empathy when it comes to people that you're working with, the clients that you're serving, the people that work with you and work for you. Bring empathy to the table in every conversation to understand what might be troubling them. What problems can you help solve? Don't look for folks to solve all of your problems. Think about how you can solve someone else's problems. I'll give a great example. So many of my friends are teachers, and teachers are feeling it right now. And I challenge myself with my business, being in the technology field, thinking every day, what can I do to potentially make their day in and day out that much better? Because they're exhausted. They're now doing in-person classroom teaching. They're doing virtual teaching, and, lesson planning. It's just like having 2 jobs in one. So I think just think about the people you engage with day in and day out, and what can you do to help make their lives better? And good goes around. We all know that good goes around. And so I think if you take that approach, you'll see that it's fulfilling both personally and from a business perspective.
Agreed. How about you, Kim? What do you think? Especially when we talk about, you just won your election. How did you harness the power of the people? And how can we continue to do that and help make the world a better place? Just like you said, be more considerate of others. I think Kim might be muted. or Mary.
Thank you. I can't unmute myself. There's a Zoom czar who's bigger than me out there. So I think that the power of the people, yes, we're seeing that with GameStop and with Reddit, and that's been really incredible. But I want to bring us back to, this summer in 2020, we saw the power of the people when they got out on the streets and really fought for racial justice, right? It started with a video that was tragic and awful and horrible that the world stopped to watch, right? And then the people, Black, white, Latinx, all of us, Asian, like we got out on the streets and we and justice. And for me, that was incredibly encouraging. And I hope that we carry that same zeal and passion into 2021 to continue to demand racial justice. And, as I look at you all as business owners and business leaders, like I hope that you start right at home with your own businesses to make sure you're doing the work, not just to look out for us as those of us who love the same way, not just the LGBTQ plus family, but to also make sure that you're thinking about things around equity in terms of race and gender, because those things really matter. And you can start with your own business as we continue to spread out, right? And then the last thing I want to say is that my election showed that the South, that Georgia, we are ready to be the progressive place that so many who are not from Georgia don't believe is possible, right? I live in a majority African-American, extraordinarily religious district, and they voted for me overwhelmingly, 80%. So please be encouraged. Georgia is not the backwoods that people talk about it being. That's not who we are. We are an incredibly diverse place where we are ready to have leaders who look like us, who reflect different ideas and characteristics. And so please continue to encourage that. And I'm a preacher, so really, I get two last things. Finally, if anybody on this call is thinking about ever running for office, I am the only LGBTQ plus person in the Senate. Don't let me be here by myself for long. Come on. I need some friends, please. Kia, come on.
Yeah.
All right. What? Hey. And moving on to Mary. Maybe one day.
Well, I think it's important to find out what people need and want, as opposed to making those assumptions that we know. And a really good example of that is this in past summer in 2020, we were putting on webinars and workshops, and we're doing COVID research with University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. And folks came to us and said, you all are too serious. We don't need all of this. It's already difficult, and so we need some laughter. We need some comedy. We need some levity. And we were like, oh, we thought we were giving you what you wanted. Well, no, you're not. We want something different. And so, we have to listen to that. So you have to listen to folks. And so we pivot. And, for the entire month of August, we had a comedy show. We had a DJ battle. We had an art show. We had a cocktail show. I mean, we did that. People were like, yeah, this is what we're talking about. This is what we want. So I think we need to listen and ask people what they need and what they want. And I think we also need to reframe power. There's so many of us who don't believe we have power. We're not intimately familiar with that word, and certainly not the whole construct. So I think that, sometimes people feel like if they're not out on the street, then they're not, being activists, and they're not having their fist up. But, activism looks all kinds of ways. It's writing your elected official. It's advocating, it's lobbying, it's just taking somebody to vote. I mean, all of that's important. So I think that we need to expand the whole definition of what we mean by power. And first of all, start having those conversations and letting people know that you can build power, and power is in you, and we need to spread it out. So I think we need to really start including people as opposed to excluding people when it comes to activism and when it comes to power, and just reframing what that looks like and what it means.
Wow.
That's so excellent. I just thought of the Bring Your Booty to the Polls campaign. That was a huge success, and for a lot of great reasons. But yes, people do want something different. And that's one of the great things that I think about, like being so connected now with social media. It shows the diversity and uniqueness of everyone. So no one gets to set a standard of normal anymore. And you kind of get to like check the crowd and see what it is that they're looking for and communicate to people where they already are. So that's so excellent. I don't think the busiest moments in my career are election season, because it's constant, because like, this is how people learn. This is how so many people take it in. So again, I'm excited to be here. I was really surprised when it was the opportunity to host, but it's perfect because I love having these conversations with you all and sharing each other's audiences. And I learned so much from you guys, and trust me when I say I'm taking notes and bringing it back, because I will definitely convey that message of, it's not just being out there with a poster. You can write your senator and let me know when you want to get people together and we can do just that.
Absolutely. Well, this is such an inspiring conversation, and I think it's spot on with what we need as we're really thinking about how we're tackling the rest of the year, and what are we going to do to be introspective and take a look at ourselves, take a look at our households, our communities, our businesses, and how we can drive meaningful impact, and not just, posting a statement, and not just, the black square on Instagram, but what are we really doing to get involved in our community and to think about how we are showing up for each other, as all of our panelists had mentioned. So as we close this out, I want to pass it around the horn. To all of our panelists, how can we learn more about you and your organization? How can we support you? So I want to start with Marianne, and I'm going to move it to Justin, Kim, and I'll kick it back over to Kia. Marianne, how can we learn more about you and Zaminola and support y'all?
You can certainly visit our website at www.zaminola.org. You can visit any of our many social media platforms. We probably have 50 million Facebook groups and pages and all of that. And you can certainly do it the old-fashioned way. You can call us up and have a conversation. We'd love that. We are about continuing to build relationships. And I think that one thing with COVID-19, people have had to stop and look at who's around us. Who are people we've been passing, in the night over these years. And the one thing I love about Atlanta is there's so much work to do. I always tell people, come down here. We got tons and tons of social justice work to do. And the entree is easy. Come on down, And so when people leave here, they always come back, because it's a place that grabs at your heart. And it's a place where, we all know each other, we work together, and we got each other's back. So certainly, get to know Zaminola, call me up, let's have a conversation. And some virtual tea.
Yes. Thank you so much, Marianne.
Did you drop the number in the chat? Make sure you drop the number in the chat.
I'll drop the number in the chat.
All right. Justin, how do we learn more and support you and your organizations?
Thank you, Chris. You can check us out online at glasshouseguide.com. That is a real estate focused technology product that my team designed and built from scratch. And it's been a wild ride to start that during the year of the pandemic, but we're making good traction. We have clients in the US and Canada. But beyond that, I and my team, for years, we've designed and developed emerging technologies for a variety of companies and industries. So always feel free to reach out. My LinkedIn profile is linked in the chat. I'll put it out there again. But I think there's an assumption. I want to mention this. There's an assumption among many small business owners and nonprofit organizations that high tech is out of reach and it's going to be expensive and challenging. And that is just no longer the case. Case in point, we're helping a small clinic out where we live stand up an online scheduling portal for the COVID vaccine because their phones were ringing off the hook and they didn't have enough time in the day. So I would just say, if you ever have technology on your brain and you want to talk it out, give me a call, drop me an email, let's hop on Zoom and chat about it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Justin. And I know I dropped the Glass House Guide website as well as Zaminola's website in the chat, but please feel free to share even more information. Kim, our Georgia State Senator, how do we keep in contact and support you?
Absolutely. So first of all, you can follow me on social media at Kim for Georgia. That's on all of the social media platforms. And my website is also kimforgeorgia.com. But please know you have a friend in the Senate. And so if there's anything that you need or you want to talk about as it relates to Georgia state politics, know that you can call me. I don't know my office number, but it's on the website for the state Senate. It's listed there. And I actually do answer the phone when I'm there, and I'll call you back. But please know, for the first time ever, you don't just have a friend, you have someone who loves like you, who's a part of your community in the Senate. And so I'm ready to be here to help you all along the way and to represent our community in a way that it's never been represented before.
Awesome. Thank you so much to our panelists. You are free to go about the rest of your evening. Join us here for the rest of our shindig. We're going to get our networking on. But thank you so much to Kim, Justin, and Marianne. It's an honor to have you with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kim, I have my ear to the ground and I cannot let you go without asking this question. I know we have time constraints. 2 questions. You can answer however you would like. So I know you all voted on the budget today. Did you vote on anything specifically that would help small businesses? And are you working towards sponsoring any legislation that will specifically help small businesses, especially LGBTQ small businesses in Atlanta? I'm sorry, I know the time constraints. Give us 30 seconds.
So real quick, the House voted on the bill on the budget today that hasn't gotten to the Senate, but there are some things in there for small businesses. It's not as much as we wish, but we do care Georgia businesses that. And yes, we are working to, a lot of it is just making sure that federal dollars actually get to you all. There are federal dollars come into Georgia. And so I'm working actively with other legislators to make sure that the dollars get to the people who need it, which are small business owners. So yes, and yes. Great to see you, Kia.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kim. Awesome final question as well, Kia. Thank you so much. Kia, I know we're going to go through, I'm going to invite our board president, Michael Daniels, on. If you hang tight for a little bit and help us get into our networking portion in about 15 minutes, if that works, stand by. But before we go into our board president and a little bit of an update, how do we learn more about Kia Barnes, AKA Kia Comedy?
Well, definitely the website, kiabarnes.com. I'm always trying to do something. So you can support me there. You can support me on social media as Kia Comedy. I do stand-up comedy. I also produce a nationally touring lesbian and androgynous fashion show, music showcases, poetry, really just trying to create queer safe spaces. So you can find me all across Atlanta because we're not going anywhere else right now. And thank you guys so much for having me and letting me pontificate. I appreciate you all.
It is such an honor. And like I mentioned earlier, this is our first time doing anything officially together with Kia and the Out Georgia Business Alliance, but this is certainly not going to be the last time. We're so excited for building this relationship and really tapping into you as an incredible leader in our community. So I'm going to invite on Mr. Michael Daniels, our board president of the Out Georgia Business Alliance. Michael Daniels has gone through the ranks of this organization from a member to an ambassador, volunteer ambassador of our organization, joined our board of directors, and then now has risen to the role of board president. So I wanted to kick it over to Michael Daniels for a few thoughts before we introduce the rest of the board and our corporate partners. Hey, Michael.
Hey, Chris, thank you very much for that introduction. I have my little son here, and he wants to say hello to everyone so that I can start my speech. Say hi, Saint, to everyone. So I see a lot of beautiful faces here tonight, which I am extremely proud and honored as your board president. As we all know, that last year was a very challenging year for all of us, from a business aspect to a personal aspect. But one good thing that came out of last year was that I think that made us closer as a rainbow community and a non-rainbow community as people. It made us very close. As we've seen a lot of changes that happen in Georgia and just all over the world with Black Lives Matter, to some things surrounding transgenders from turning our state red to blue. So as you can see, as we stick together as like one community, that we can truly accomplish a lot. So last year for me, even though during the pandemic, it was not the best, it was a good year for us all to come together, which is, what we all strive for as an organization. I am proud to serve here at Out Georgia Business Alliance. As you know, that we serve more than 500 plus small and mid-sized businesses across our state. We had a tremendous success rate last year, and that was because of you all. We had a lot of great corporate partners to join us in 2020, as well as small business partners and just regular members to join Out Georgia. As you know, we shifted our focus just not only in Atlanta, but throughout the whole entire state of Georgia. All of that was done with our incredible team here at Out Georgia, all of our board members, just all of our members that helped make Out Georgia just a wonderful organization to be a part of. I want to give a very special thanks to our panelists, to all of our speakers, from Kia, Mary, Kim, to Justin. Thanks for that incredible speech that you all did, and just informing us on some things that we can look forward to as an organization and as people. Also want to give a special thanks to all of our corporate partners who continuously pour into Out Georgia to make us a very successful organization. And lastly, I want to thank all of our wonderful members, because without you all, there would be no chamber. So I just would like to say thank you. We have a lot to look forward to this year in 2021. We have a lot of exciting things that we are working on here at Out Georgia to present to our team. Chris will kind of get into some of that a little later within the presentation, but I want to give a very special thank you to Chris for his incredible work. I could not be an amazing president without the help of Chris and the board. Also want to thank Nicole for all of her efforts and all of her hard work. So cheers to a successful 2021. And I know you all have your glass of wine or champagne. So we're gonna cheer to 2021. Thank you.
That's right. Awesome. Thank you so much, Michael. Thanks to your leadership and the leadership of so many who have come before you as our board presidents. I know Patrina Bloodworth is on the line, and a number of our other board leaders who have really invested so much. This organization has been around since 1994. We used to be the Atlanta Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce, and then about a year and a half ago, we made that strategic shift to become the Out Georgia Business Alliance and to really think about our growth and evolution as the only LGBTQ plus chamber here down in the state of Georgia. Nicole, if you wouldn't mind, I wanted to go ahead back to the slide deck. I wanted to give a quick overview of our board of directors, our corporate partners, and then I want to move into the meat of our 2021 plans in rapid fire succession. Michael Daniel serves as our board president, David Gaskow, who's here on the line as our vice president, Dr. Yolanda Brown-Lee as our treasurer, Gabrielle Claiborne is our board secretary and inclusion chair, and Patrina Bloodworth serves as our immediate past president. We also are honored to have Malik Brown on our board of directors, including Glenn Paul Friedman, Matthew Lee, Luis Ruiz, Hillary Thomas, and Mike Vecchio. These folks invest so much time and energy to serving our members right here in Atlanta and across the state of Georgia. I also want to give a shout out as we move into our corporate partners. We can't do it without these folks. Cox Enterprises and Georgia Power serve as our platinum partners. They invest a whole lot into making sure that we're able to deliver on our mission. I want to give a quick overview to our gold partners. Bank of America, the Coca-Cola Company, Comcast Business, Creative Approach, Delta, Discovered Cab, Dunlop Productions, Gayborhood, Hierarchy, IHG, Kaiser Permanente, Regions Bank, Sage, and UPS. Our silver partners, BB&T, now Truist, Diane Hames Photography, Cindy and Sharon's Same-Sex Wedding Photography, Grady Health, JP Morgan Chase and Company, MARTA, there's that rainbow that you're mentioning, Kia, MARTA, Nelson Mullins, Savannah Distribution, Tito's Handmade Vodka, Warner Media, and Wells Fargo. As we move on to our bronze sponsors, AARP of Georgia, Center State Bank, Continuon Services, Cybernetics, and the GICC, Georgia International Convention Center. We've also got our media partners, Georgia Voice, Midtown Radio X, Peach ATL Media, and Project Q. And of course, our community and economic partners, Georgia Equality, the Georgia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the National LGBT Chamber of Commerce, NGLCC, and most recently, United Way of Greater Atlanta. We're gonna talk about that in just a moment. As we move on, folks, and I want to make sure that we're highlighting the big picture, what you can expect from the Out Georgia Business Alliance here in 2021. And before I get into the next handful of pieces, I also want you to know that we want you to bring your entire self to the Out Georgia Business Alliance. Every single part of you represented here, know that this is a welcoming and safe space. And we wanna make sure that we are learning even more about you, all parts of the state of Georgia. So know this, that you are welcome here and you've got an invitation to join the Out Georgia Business Alliance. As I mentioned before, and as we go on to the next slide here, we've got three primary pillars around advocacy, business, and community. From an advocacy perspective, know that Out Georgia Business Alliance is the only LGBTQ+ Chamber of Commerce here in the state of Georgia, and we're also the only affiliate of the National LGBT Chamber of Commerce that's based out of Washington, D.C. There are 60 LGBTQ+ focused chambers across the United States that are affiliated with the NGLCC, and we are proud to be a strong representative here in the Southeast. On the next page, I just want to give you a quick overview. There are approximately 1.5 million LGBT-owned businesses across the United States. Of those, just over 1,500 or almost 1,600 now are certified as LGBT-owned business enterprises. There are an estimated 2,000 plus LGBT-owned businesses here in the state of Georgia. We have the second highest concentration of certified LGBT-owned businesses right here in the state of Georgia versus our counterparts across the United States. And just another quick tidbit, it's estimated that there's 4.5% of Georgians who identify as a member of the LGBTQ plus community. That represents $21.6 billion in annual purchasing power. To put it lightly, this LGBTQ plus and queer community, we've got power. Just like we were mentioning earlier, we've got power, and I think we're ready to do even more for the LGBTQ plus business community as we move into the year ahead. From an advocacy perspective, it's important that we are involved in our community as well. I am honored to sit on the Mayor of Atlanta's LGBTQ plus advisory board, and I co-chair the Community and Economic Development Committee along with Bridget Scarborough. We've also got several board members who are members of this advisory board, including Hillary Thomas and Gabrielle Claiborne. Kia Barnes is also represented on here, and our former board president, Sandy Mollett, is also represented here with the Mayor of Atlanta's LGBTQ Advisory Board. And of course, serving as the Director of LGBTQ plus affairs with the City of Atlanta is our board member, Malik Brown. So proud of him. When it comes to advocacy, we know the connection to our community organizations needs to be strong and even stronger. More importantly, it's because we want to create that connection to empowering and educating, helping educate our members so that you know what's happening. When Kim Jackson and Kia, they were talking about what's happening with the state budget from a finance perspective, LGBTQ plus inclusion or specific policies. We want you to know how that's going to have an impact, not only on you as an individual, but your business, your employees, their families, and the community at large. With Georgia Equality, we've got big plans this year with some really tight integration of advocacy training and some events that I think are going to really speak to our LGBTQ plus business owners. We're also going to start looking at how do we incorporate a pledge into the Out Georgia Business Alliance process, where we join as members the Georgia Unites Against Discrimination campaign, which is really focused around LGBTQ plus civil rights right here in the state of Georgia. We're really proud of how we are moving forward from an advocacy perspective, and we are leaning on Georgia Equality with their incredible leadership. You know, as we touch on the business perspective, I want you to know that we are continuing to look at how we improve our organization. I know Marianne was mentioning earlier that you have to listen, ask the people what they want. So we are really focused on delivering surveys to our members so that we can gather more feedback how we can best serve you. On the next slide here, know that over the coming weeks, you're going to see even more updates to our website when it comes to resources as a small business owner or an LGBTQ plus business leader. We're also going to be revamping our business directory so that it is even better of an experience for folks who are wanting to learn about LGBTQ plus and allied businesses across our state. And then from the individual businesses and members, we are going to ensure that your business profiles are fully filled out and representative of who you are as a business. And so folks can best get in contact with you, because folks are starting to realize even more that the Out Georgia Business Alliance is a leader when it comes to gathering and cultivating the information for LGBTQ plus businesses. So you're going to see some nice updates to our website here over the next few weeks. I want to also share, we are relaunching our Out Georgia Academy series, which is really focused on delivering business education and professional development education directly to our members. What I'm most proud about is we are really turning to our members as subject matter experts. So from the members of the Out Georgia Business Alliance, be on the lookout. We're going to start putting information in your inbox so that you can submit to present webinars, to present educational content. Of course, we're also going to be turning to our corporate, economic, and community partners to build out a library of content, but we want to lean on our members who are the subject matter experts. They are the folks who know marketing, finance, technology, nonprofits the best. So we're going to turn to you to help fill out the Out Georgia Academy. Along with that, our procurement spotlight is going to be really focused on LGBT BEs, or LGBT business enterprises, and how we include them in our educational opportunities, but more importantly, connect them to procurement opportunities with corporations and other businesses that are looking to specifically target diverse vendors. LGBTBE certification, we've got some information here. To put it bluntly, we are finding that it is so important for you to raise your hand and to go through this certification process so that you can be counted and we can officially start to quantify your economic impact when it comes to the state of Georgia and the nation overall. We're going to have even more information about our coordination with our National LGBT Chamber of Commerce, because certification is national and your membership is local here with the Out Georgia Business Alliance. Next, we're going to reintroduce and revamp some of our networking series that is focused on referrals and connections. So our Business Builder Lunch series is going to kick back up, as well as we're going to be launching our Business Summit again in June of 2021, which is where we've typically had that event, or the timing when we typically had that event in the past. But know that the LGBTQ plus Business Summit is going to be bigger and more expansive than ever. We're really going to be focusing on elevating member content, but also spotlighting our member businesses so that not only each other, but the state of Georgia knows exactly where to go to support LGBTQ plus businesses. You know, as we move into the community piece, and I know I'm flying here, I'll also say we are going to be following up on Monday with a complete report out of all these different areas and some more specifics so you can learn more and dive in. As we dive into community, to me, I mentioned on the next slide here, this is where we were just about a year ago. We were at Coca-Cola's headquarters. We were enjoying some cocktails, some hors d'oeuvres, and really getting to know each other. Can you see that? We were actually hugging and smiling and in the same room without masks. It seems like forever ago, but this type of relationship, no matter if we're doing this via Zoom or eventually, once it's safe to do so and responsible to do so live and in person, these connections are so darn important to the Out Georgia Business Alliance, because you are what make this organization what it is today. Focusing on those connections, we are going to be relaunching our Fourth Friday networking series and our Out in the Kitchen series, which is like our holiday party that we would typically have at the end of the year. What I want to point out with Fourth Friday and a number of our Business Builder Lunch, our educational offering with the Out Georgia Academy, we're also coming at this through the lens of statewide reach. So for the Fourth Friday, for example, we are always going to have a Fourth Friday here in Atlanta from a networking perspective, but we are also looking to introduce networking Fridays in Savannah, in Augusta, in Columbus, in Athens, in Macon, and other cities along the way, because we want to replicate the programming experience, but really bring it into those communities to make it even more special and more unique. So know that we're going to be launching a number of our programs, but we're also going to be asking ourselves, how do we bring this live outside of Metro Atlanta? On the next slide, a big part of our community piece is recognizing greatness and recognizing the work that our folks are doing. Our community awards and our community honors event, which will be happening in late fall of this year, is all about recognizing leaders who are kind of changing the game in categories from nonprofit to new business, to our community leaders, business leaders, our corporate allies, and on down the line. This particular event is all about turning that spotlight around the room and really focusing on the great work that you all are investing in our community. And speaking of that, in 2020, we launched the first ever most influential LGBTQ plus Georgians. I'm so proud of how we launched this project in 2020 and how we're going to evolve this project into the years ahead. This is a way for us to, at a higher level, beyond the business community, how do we ensure that folks across the state of Georgia are aware of the incredible people who are making our LGBTQ plus community even better? So our most influential list is going to be even more special as we go into the years ahead. We're going to build a small committee to really steer and focus how we're bringing that one to life. But this is another way that we're moving the spotlight around the room. Our ambassador program is one that is near and dear to my heart, as well as Nicole's heart. This is our team of volunteers who help us not only with member outreach, but they help bring the Out Georgia experience to life. So I want to encourage you, if you're interested in volunteering and getting even deeper into the Out Georgia Business Alliance experience, serving as an ambassador is a volunteer role that will probably take maybe 4 to 6 hours on a monthly basis. But we're going to be focusing even more on support, not only from an outreach perspective, but from events support, marketing and communications, on down the line. We want to tap into these ambassadors to help make this organization better. I think this is a wonderful path to understanding how you can join our board of directors. And honestly, we're looking at ambassadors that are representing all facets of our community and especially outside of Metro Atlanta. So if you're interested, shoot us an email. We're going to follow up with you. Just raise your hand if you're interested. And I want to make sure you're plugged into our ambassador program because it's really special. On this next slide, I know we have Aaron Rice here with United Way of Greater Atlanta, who's part of the event this evening. I am so proud. A couple of weeks ago, we launched together with United Way of Greater Atlanta, the Out Georgia Impact Fund. This is probably, Aaron would probably correct me, this is probably like a year plus in the making. We challenged ourselves to say, okay, we've got this growing community of LGBTQ plus businesses and professionals that we are helping represent and serve. How do we then take that growing momentum and turn it into lasting, measurable impact in our community? The Out Georgia Impact Fund is going to be supported by our corporate partners on a larger scale, but we're also going to have funding opportunities from an individual perspective. I'm pretty sure I just saw Aaron drop the individual giving link in the chat for our Give Lively page. You can donate as an individual. You can create a team to create a fundraising team for the Out Georgia Business Alliance Impact Fund. We're also going to be launching employee giving along with United Way of Greater Atlanta. You name it, we're going to have funding options to support the Out Georgia Impact Fund. And more importantly, we are building an advisory committee. If you're interested in this advisory committee, we're looking for LGBTQ plus and allied folks who have a sense of the nonprofit landscape around the greater Metro Atlanta area and beyond, and how we can start to leverage funding to impact their work on a larger scale. So for instance, we've got areas of focus around LGBTQ plus youth, around college and career readiness. We've got initiative or priorities around supporting Black-led LGBTQ plus organization, LGBTQ plus families, small businesses, on down the line. This is really exciting, and there's going to be much more information to come about the Out Georgia Impact Fund. When it comes to, that was a highlight of our pillars and what we're doing within those 3 pillars of advocacy, business, and community. I want to share just a touch more about our initiatives before we move on to the final networking portion of this evening. On the next slide here, we've got these 4 primary initiatives for the Out Georgia Business Alliance. Our statewide representation and serving statewide organizations, businesses across our state. TG&C 360, which is going to be a brand new initiative, a coalition that the Out Georgia Business Alliance is building that is centering around how we address the economic, housing, and health inequities faced by our transgender and gender nonconforming community. This coalition is super exciting because we are going to be bringing together and looking to bring together leaders from TG&C led and focused organizations across our state so that we can build a 360 view of how to support and engage and really invest in those who identify with the TG&C experience. They mean so much to us, and we are looking to step up even more with TG&C 360. Our emerging LGBTQ plus leaders. So think about this as our young professionals, E2L as I like to call it. This is how we are focusing on the next generation of LGBTQ plus leaders with programming, networking, and support around their professional development. And finally, intersections. This is where we are challenging the Out Georgia Business Alliance to do intentional work with minority-focused organizations from an economic and community perspective. For instance, the Georgia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the Atlanta Black Chambers of Commerce, the U.S. Pan-Asian American Chambers of Commerce, on down the line. We are really challenging ourselves of how do we not only ask for allyship to the LGBTQ plus community, but how do we demonstrate our allyship to other minority communities and really embrace the intersectionality that is so deep amongst our communities overall. These are our 4 leading initiatives that you're going to see even more information about as we move into the months ahead. But from a statewide, our trans and gender nonconforming initiative with TG&C 360, our young professionals, emerging LGBTQ plus leaders, and our intersections initiatives. If you want to get involved, again, make sure you're following up with us, following our website, our social media, sending me an email at chris.lugo@outgeorgia.org. We want you involved, especially when it comes to bringing this work to life. So how do you get involved and do even more? Of course, there are our events that we host, just like this one. We're going to have our Out Georgia Academy, a series of educational programming that we're hoping you take advantage of. Of course, we want you to consider joining as a member of the Out Georgia Business Alliance and knowing that you are part of the only LGBTQ plus Chamber of Commerce right here in the state of Georgia. Taking your involvement beyond that, we encourage you to think about our volunteer ambassador program. And that is a wonderful way to get plugged into our committees that are happening at our board of directors level. So think events, small business development programming, community outreach, et cetera. And of course, that is a wonderful segue to our board of directors. We are always on the lookout for incredible passion and talent who can really help shape where we are going as the Out Georgia Business Alliance. I encourage you to dive in and again, to bring every part of you to the Out Georgia Business Alliance. Now, if you are not a member of the Out Georgia Business Alliance, that's okay, because we've got a special offer for you. And if you are a member, we encourage you to share this with anyone and everyone within your network who wants to be part of this Chamber of Commerce. If you sign up with the Out Georgia Business Alliance today through February 5th, you've got a week. You'll receive 21% off your annual membership when you use the code 2021 Kickoff. Again, if you are considering the Out Georgia Business Alliance, consider this a sign for you. 21% off your annual membership if you use the code 2021 Kickoff between now and February 5th. You've got a week. So please feel free to share this information with anyone who's considering, encourage them to join. We want to make sure that our chamber is not only growing in size, that's okay, but we want to grow in representation. We want to grow in the quality human beings who are part of our organization and committed to making our community across the state of Georgia even better.